Today we shall learn about a word called being as a non-finite verb. Non-finite verb means a verb which does not have any tense. Normally a verb has a present tense or past tense or future tense. But being is a verb which does not have any permanent tense of its own. It does not indicate present or past or future. That's why we call it a non-finite verb. And what is being? If you want to know the history, the background of being, it comes from a group called be. There is a group called be. In this group, you have the verbs am, is, are. What is the speciality of these three verbs? Which tense do they indicate?
Present continuous.
Present tense. In the same group, we have was and were. What tense do they indicate? Past tense. And in the same group, we have be, been and being. Now, these three words do not indicate any tense. They are not tense indicators. These three are present tense, these two are past tense, and these three are neutral. They don't have any tense. So, in the earlier classes, we have learnt about these five and these two. Today, we are going to learn how to make sentences with being and how it helps me in my communication skill. Look at this pair. How many sentences have I written?
Two.
Two sentences. Are they same or different, these two people? Same. So, the subject is the same. When I write two sentences like this, when the subject is the same, I need not write two sentences. They are, of course, they are correct. But if I want to join them, if I want to make into one sentence, it can be done like this. Being an Indian, comma, I respect my country. Please read this sentence.
Being an Indian, I respect my country.
So, how is it possible? I remove this subject and I replace this am with the word being, then convert this full stop into comma. Now, the answer is ready. Being an Indian, I respect my country. This is called editing. The sub-editors in the newspaper do the same job. As a reporter, you have written a report, you have written an article by using, let me tell you, 85 sentences. When it goes to the hands of the sub-editor, he thinks that 85 sentences are not necessary, it has become too lengthy. So, wherever there is a scope, wherever there is a chance, he tries to edit, he tries to make it as brief as possible, and in that process sometimes we need being also. You cannot use being wherever you want. Being is used only in particular conditions. I will tell you what those conditions are. She is good at maths. She helps her brother. Between these two sentences, in which sentence do you find be form verb?
Is, first sentence.
Yes. So, here also in the first sentence there was a be form verb. You cannot use being wherever you like. In the pair, at least in one sentence there should be a be form verb, then it is possible. Now, I need not tell you how to join the sentences, I am sure you have got the point. With the help of this example, can you join this one? She is good at maths, she helps her brother.
Being good at maths, she helps her brother.
That's all. Wonderful. Being good at maths, she helps her brother. Fine. They are sportsmen, they are physically fit.
Being sportsmen, they are physically fit.
Very good. Being sportsmen, they are physically fit. He was an IPS officer. He worked in different parts of India. Please join.
Being an IPS officer, he works in different parts in India.
Good. So remove the subject and replace was with being. Being an IPS officer, then remove this capital letter and put he worked in different parts of India. Okay, now look at this example. They were soldiers. They fought for their country.
Being soldiers, they fought for
Remove the subject and put being here. Being soldiers, they fought for their country. Now this sentence can also be written like this. Not only this, all these sentences can also be written in one more way. They, being soldiers, fought for their country. So here we are dividing subject, verb, and we are inserting. In between subject and verb, we are inserting the non-finite clause. This is called non-finite clause. Now tell me here how to put it in divisive method, subject and verb method.
He being an IPS officer
Worked
in
different parts of India. Now orally I will give you some pairs because I always prefer oral examples. You tell me. I am an Indian, I respect my culture.
Being an Indian, I respect my culture.
Right. I am the youngest son in my family, I get maximum attention.
being the youngest son of my family, I get maximum attention.
Right. You are the senior most employee in this company, you should know the rules and regulations.
Being a senior most,
Being the senior most employee,
you should know
the rules and regulations. Right.
Sir, can we say like you being the senior most employee in our...
Wherever you are able to make an example like this, definitely you can do like this. But this is more preferable for written English, because for spoken it is quite inconvenient because you have to make pauses 2 times and the other person may or may not be able to understand. I advise you to use this for spoken part, this for written part. But the meaning is the same. When you are not adding any extra word, absolutely there is no question of giving a different meaning. Meaning is the same. He is a traffic head constable. He is facing problems because of pollution.
being a traffic head constable. He is facing
Problem because of pollution. Fine. She was my classmate. She helped me.
Being my classmate, she helped me.
Right. You are my best friend. You should support me.
being a best friend. You should support.
Being my best friend, you should support me. What is the other method? You, comma, being my best friend, should support me. Fine. Now, in all these cases, subject was the same. When subject is not the same, there is a difference. It is a holiday today. The crowd is more. Then I have to say it being a holiday today, the crowd is more. Because here subjects are different. Here it is a subject, here crowd is a subject. Then you have to take the help of this method. It being a holiday today, the crowd is more. I give you one example.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
Followed by it, do we have to put comma?
Here?
Yes, sir.
No, because it is one complete sentence.
Okay.
It is a Sunday, the rush is more. Join.
It being a Sunday, the rush is more.
Right. So this is an exception where the subjects are not the same. She is an innocent woman, she trusts everybody. Join the sentences. She is an innocent woman. She trusts everybody.
She being an innocent woman.
Trusts everybody. Being an innocent woman,
She trusts everyone.
He is a smart businessman. He is making lot of money.
Being a smart businessman, he makes lot of money.
He makes lot of money. Fine. So this is the way you have to make sentences. Try to know the rule. In the two sentences, at least one sentence should have any be form verb like am, is or was verb. Then you can join the sentence by using the word being. After you join, you can tell in two ways. A regular method like being an Indian, I respect my country, or a split method like I, being an Indian, respect my country. And one more point, this type of examples are found in large number only in the newspapers, not in your regular grammar books. So develop the habit of reading a good newspaper. Keep on underlining the sentences where you will find being and note them down and read them repeatedly. You will develop some familiarity. So I hope you have understood how to use being and keep using it in your language till you become perfect. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir.
Now, listen to two people conversing with each other. They discuss some important issue.
Good morning, Varsha.
Good morning, Manasi.
You know, Varsha, over the past couple of years, whenever we watch the news, we see so many incidents of youth and youngsters all over the country bringing a lot of unrest in big colleges and universities.
True.
So I wanted to talk to you about the youth and some of the bad habits that we have.
True. I think we need to discuss about it and make our viewers also aware of what is going on.
Let us. But first of all, let us be clear. Youth does not only mean young people who are in their teenage. Youth by definition means it is that time of life in every person where they have the most amount of enthusiasm and the ability to make change for them and for the people around them. So this includes everybody almost up to the age of 30, I believe.
Correct.
Now, compared to previous generations, for the past 30 years, 40 years, there are so many more opportunities, so many more facilities that we are given. There is an increase in technology, there is cell phones, laptops, so many good improvements happening around us. And with access to so many facilities and more freedom to use it, there is a chance for some of us to get into bad habits, is what I feel. Let's take a look at some of the bad traits that lead to bad habits. The first one is laziness. Now, laziness does not mean that you are tired and you don't want to get up from the bed in the morning and you say, Amma, 5 more minutes, Amma, 10 more minutes. That is not laziness. Laziness means, it is an example of laziness, where if you take up a particular work or a particular initiative, then you don't do it properly. Or if you do start the work, you don't have that motivation. You don't want to continue the work with that enthusiasm, with that sincerity. And it just stops in the middle randomly like that. Now, this can also lead to the second bad trait, which is a lack of seriousness or responsibility. This means that when we start something, we are not serious about it. We don't understand, some of us do not understand how much responsibility we have in shaping ourselves and helping and shaping the future of people around us. So when we don't understand the seriousness of this matter, it can also lead to certain bad habits. Now, the third and fourth reasons are some of the most important ones. You have misusing the given freedom.
True.
Now, I said earlier that because of technology, there is so much freedom given to us compared to previous generations. Now, when I say misusing this freedom, I don't only mean that we're using it in a bad way. Sometimes when we need to use it, we don't use it at all.
Correct.
And also, there are times where we use attiga vartamu, ante we use the freedom too much, or we don't use it enough, ante takkuga vartam. This also comes under misusing the freedom.
Correct.
Now, we should remember, when you use the freedom given to you, you should use it responsibly, in a way that helps you and the people around you, but not hurting people around you.
Exactly.
And finally, there is no fear for the consequences of our actions. Ante manam oka pani chestam, daniki whatever happens will happen, I'm not worried about that. I feel this is a wrong mentality that is there in the youth. Do you feel that?
Exactly true. See, when we are doing a work, it could be a positive work or a negative work, but you should you should know the consequence of it. You should be aware that it will lead to a certain result, and I must know about it.
Yeah, and you should not do anything blindly. When you are doing any work, you should also be aware that there will be some result of the work, and whatever that result comes, you should be open-minded to accept it. You should not say, I will do one work, but I will not take this result. That's wrong. Whatever you do, you should be open-minded to accept whatever comes to you.
Now, that is leading to some bad habits. I will list a few of bad habits that we see that is happening today. There is smoking, there is drinking, there is theft and robbery. These are pretty self-explanatory. But there is one another bad habit that is increasing these days, that is disrespecting people around. Disrespecting people around is starting from disrespecting your parents, disrespecting your elders, your siblings, the women in the house, and your friends around you. You can think, my parents, my wish, ma mummy, nenu etla aina maatladtanu. Correcte. You can be free with your parents, true. But don't let that freedom go to an extent where you're being rude to them, or it is leading to disrespecting them. That is wrong completely.
We should be careful of that.
We should be careful of that. Disrespecting people is not only done face to face, it is also done indirectly through social media and social networking. Now, we have mediums like Facebook, we have mediums like several social messengers,
like
right?
WhatsApp.
From WhatsApp, Viber, Hike, so many things. Now, these are all made for easy communication, so that there won't be any gap and we'll be able to communicate to anybody across the world. But there are people who are misusing this communication and posting some unwanted comments, harsh comments that is hurting the other person, which is wrong. You're disrespecting the other person. You're invading in their privacy, which is not correct at all.
Yes.
And the other bad habit that I see is misusing the money given to us.
That's a big bad habit in fact.
That is a big bad habit. Now, as youth, some of us are having jobs, some of us don't have jobs. Now, we'll go to schools, we'll go to colleges. Generally, what do? We take some money along with us, in case we need, in case for bus fares, in case for auto, in case for any fees, in case we need to buy anything.
In case we want to eat outside.
In case we want to eat outside, that's the most common thing that we all do. But what is happening is, we are misusing the money in the name of requirement. We are misusing the money and that is leading to bad habits like using of drugs, and that is leading to using of cigarettes, that is leading to smoking, and we are saving up that money for unnecessary reasons, unwanted reasons. That is also a bad habit.
In fact, when some people who are not earning, they get pocket money from their parents.
Oh, yes.
If they misuse the money for bad things, they are also breaking the trust of their parents indirectly, no?
That is true. That is really true. What happens is, sometimes we don't indulge in a bad habit by ourselves. It will happen because of peer pressure. Our friends around us are doing it. So, that will actually put a pressure on us.
That we also should do it.
We also should do it. If not, we will not be accepted as a friend in that group.
True.
That is creating an intuition in our head. So, we tend to fall into the same trap and fall into such kind of a bad habit.
But we should not. We should be careful of those things too.
We should be careful of those things too. And the other bad habit that I see is not owning up to your mistakes.
Ante not accepting your mistakes, right?
Not accepting your mistakes. Now you have done a task, something that you have done. Either that has come out in a positive way or that has come out in a negative way. But you have done it. So own up to it. What if it is wrong? So what? It is a mistake. Learn from your mistake and then make sure that it doesn't repeat again. That is all there is. Who is going to tell you anything? Nobody will tell you anything if you are making a mistake. All you need to do is own up to it. Be responsible enough to realize that yes, I did this job, I did this task and it didn't come out as planned. It went in a negative way, it went in a bad way, it didn't go the way that I expected. Okay, I will learn from it and I will make sure not to do it. But people are not doing that. They think it is not my thing. I'm going to blame it on the other person. That is the best thing they find doing it, and which is a bad habit.
It's a very negative way to approach it.
It is absolutely a negative way to approach it. You are not only blaming your friend or another partner, you are actually breaking that trust between the partners and the friends also over there.
That's true.
You are not owning up to your mistake, you are unnecessarily losing your friendship as well at the same time.
True.
And the last bad habit, which I think is violence. Violence for every problem. Any problem that is given to you, you think violence is the only answer. If somebody is causing a trouble, if somebody is doing something wrong, talk, solve the problem. Violence is not the answer. If I can have the liberty of giving a small quote over here, you take an eye for an eye, you only end up making the world blind. That is not leading to a solution over here. That is something we need to realize. Bad traits will lead to bad habits. These bad habits either are coming out of our own accord or because of the surroundings that we are in. So we need to be aware what to do, what not to do, what are the bad habits, and help come out of such habits.
In fact, when it comes to people engaging in violence, many of us keep forgetting that India did not get independence from violence. It was the non-violence that was started by Mahatma Gandhi that got us independence. So we should understand the power of non-violence and put it into practice.
Exactly. Every problem has a solution. That is how, for the problem, we fought for a solution in the way it was meant to be fought.
And it is the most peaceful way when you do not engage in violence. So as we discussed just some time ago, there are some bad traits which lead to bad habits. If we put a check on ourselves and try to make those bad traits in us, make them into good traits, stop them or improve ourselves, make ourselves better people, naturally the bad habits also will go away and we will stop ourselves from doing any more bad habits, new ones in the future. So I think we should be careful of this and improve ourselves and make ourselves better with each passing day.
Well, now listen to a story. Try to observe the vocabulary and the grammar in it.
Let's hear to another story. The man who wanted nothing. Ali was a carpenter who lived alone and worked hard the whole day long. His tastes were simple and his wants few, so he spent very little of money he earned. There was a person called Ali and who was a very simple man who wouldn't really interested in earning a lot of money, but he was a very simple man who was very happy with whatever he earned. One day he found that the jar in which he kept his money was full to the brim. Brim means you have a glass and that is the border, we can say. So the top level that we have, that is called the brim. So the money, he would store all this money in a jar and it had come to the brim. So Ali thought, I must empty it, he thought, or I'll have no container for my money. So he thought of emptying that whole thing, and he felt that if he didn't empty, then he wouldn't have any other container to store all his money. He took the jar to the local jeweler, emptied its contents on the floor and asked the jeweler to give him a bracelet worth the sum. So Ali went to a jeweler and he gave all the money to the jeweler and asked him to give him something which is equivalent to that sum. So the jeweler gave him a bracelet, a pretty bracelet which made of gold. Ali wondered what he should do with the bracelet. Bracelet is something which you put on your wrist. So he was wondering what to do with this bracelet. He saw a merchant at the head of a line of camels laden with goods and asked him where he was going. So Ali, he saw a man who was coming with all the camels, and those camels were completely loaded with all goods. So Ali asked that man where he was going. Man says, to the palace, said the merchant importantly. The princess has ordered some clothes. Will you give her this bracelet too? Said the carpenter, handing over the bracelet he had brought to him. Tell her it's a gift from Ali. So Ali gives that bracelet to him and he says, he asked this man to give it to the princess. Then the princess liked the bracelet and sent him a camel load of finest silks in return. So when the princess receives the bracelet, she sends a return gift to Ali, which are the finest silks. Then what will I do with these silks? Groaned Ali when the merchant brought the heavily loaded camel to him. Give them to someone else, suggested the merchant. Who? Perhaps the Sultan of Kesh. So Ali will be wondering what he'll be doing with these silks. Then the merchant says, give it to somebody. Then he'll say, to whom should I give? Then the merchant says, give it to somebody who really needs it, or give it to the Sultan. So Ali sent the silk to the Sultan, who, delighted with the gift, sent him 6 of his finest horses. Ali sent them on to the princess. So now what the princess sent, the silks, Ali sent it to the Sultan, and Sultan was very happy with the gifts, and he sent his finest 6 horses to Ali, and Ali again sent it back to the princess. Who is this Ali, and why is he sending me gifts? She asked her advisor. So the princess was wondering who this Ali was and why he was sending all these gifts. And she asked her advisor why he was sending these gifts. Probably somebody who wants to impress you with his wealth, said the advisor. Send him a gift that he cannot match, that will humble his pride. So the princess asked him, why is somebody sending this? Then the advisor says, might be somebody who really wanted to impress you with all his riches. Then the princess says, okay, send him the gifts, so that, send him such a lot of gifts that his pride, whatever he is proud of, will be humbled. Then the princess sent him 20 mules. Mules means it is a baby which is born out of a horse and a donkey. Then mules laden with silver. Not wishing to be burdened by so much wealth, Ali sent the silver to the Sultan. The Sultan was perplexed. Again, the Sultan was very, very confused. Who is sending so many gifts? Then, who is this Ali, and why is he sending me gifts? He asked his advisor. So again, the Sultan is wondering who is this Ali and why is he sending him so many gifts. Even his advisor also says the same thing. Probably somebody who wants to impress you with his wealth, said the advisor. Send him a gift that he cannot match, that should humble him. Then the Sultan also says the same thing. Send him the gifts where he is trying to show off himself, so that his riches will be, whatever he is trying to be proud of, that he will be humbled. The Sultan sent Ali 20 cartloads of precious stones, which Ali promptly rerouted to the princess. Now here the Sultan sends him 20 cartloads of precious stones, which actually Ali, he didn't take anything, but again he rerouted them to the princess. The princess, her curiosity piqued, decided to pay him a visit. Now when the princess came to know about all this, then she says she was so curious and she was also a little bit angry about it. So she wanted to find out who this Ali was. So she set out secretly, taking only her maid with her. Maid means a person who is a domestic help to her. So their inquiries led them to the humble dwelling of the carpenter. So those two people, the princess as well as the maid, both of them, they started going, finding out the route to where exactly Ali was and who Ali was. So once they tried to find this out, then they came to the place. Dwelling means it is a place where Ali lived. So he was a carpenter, so his house came to that place where his house was. As they were looking around in bewilderment, little puzzled, a handsome man of regal bearing came riding towards them. It was the Sultan of Kesh. He too had decided to make the acquaintance of mysterious Ali. Acquaintance means he wanted to get to know who this person was. Mysterious means a person who is turning out to be a puzzle to him. So once the princess and the maid, they come to who Ali was. They wanted to find out who Ali was. So suddenly they see a very handsome man coming out of that place, and he was in a royally dressed. So even he came to find out who Ali was. The Sultan and the princess fell in love with each other at first sight. After a short courtship, they announced their marriage. So once they saw each other, the princess and the Sultan, they both fell in love with each other, and after some time, they both announced their marriage. Ali was now a famous man, as he refused to go to either of their palaces. The princess and the Sultan sent him a chest full of gold. Chest means it is a box full of gold. So here Ali became a very famous person, but he refused to go to either of the palaces, either to the Sultan's or to the princess' palace. And now those two people, they sent him a big box of gold, but This box of gold, it was never delivered. When Ali saw the Sultan's men bringing the gold, he fled the village and was never seen again. Now, they saw this man, the people bringing the chest of gold, and Ali saw that the people were bringing this gold to him. He saw that and he ran away from there. That chest of gold was never given to anybody till date. So, what do we come to know from this story? Here, a person who is contented with everything will never run after money. Person like Ali, he was happy with what he had, he was satisfied with whatever he had, so he was not very much eager to get all the riches of the world. So a person who is contented with whatever he has will never run after money. If people run after money, money will never come to them, but money will be going away from them. So people run after people, not after money. Thank you.
Now, an anecdote for you, please. Please learn English through this anecdote.
You know, in life, we get a lot of opportunities. Some opportunities are very easy to fulfill. We take those opportunities and we complete those tasks. And some of them are not so easy. The moment we get that opportunity, we feel it might be slightly challenging. I may or I may not be able to do it. Whether I have knowledge in that area, you think I'll be able to complete that task, it seems slightly difficult. It seems a little, I don't know, I'm having a doubt whether I can do it or not. It is slightly difficult for me to do.
You think it could also be impossible to do?
That will lead to a state where I feel it is too difficult for me to even try. It may be impossible for me to pursue this. So I may not be able to do it. And thinking like that, we will let go of a very good opportunity. And I think to answer these kind of doubts and questions, you should explain and you should tell the audience the story that you told me yesterday. You remember? A life incident of Swami Vivekananda you were just talking about.
Yes, that story. That's,
Exactly.
Yes, that's very related to this.
I think you should tell them.
I think I will share it.
So this was a story from Swami Vivekananda's life when he was a young boy. But his name was Naren back then. He was not known by the famous name he is known with today. So young Naren was only 11 years old and he was living in Calcutta. One day there was a warship that came to the Calcutta coast. And everyone was so excited and they wanted to go and get passes to see that warship. This was in the 1800s, early 1900s. So everyone was excited. Back then warship, because war was going on, everyone was really excited. Oh, there's a warship, let's go see it. But they could not simply go like that. They had to get a pass, ante a ticket from a British officer. Now back then, British was ruling India and everyone was very scared of British officers. Even adults were very timid. They would be easily scared and they would not be fearless. They would velli maatadadanike chaala bhayapadevallu with a British officer. So everyone had to queue up, stand in a queue and then go to a particular counter, and there they will have to tell the purpose and they will be given a ticket. Now, since the warship was so interesting, even young Naren and his friends wanted to go and visit the warship. His friends were very scared. They said, Naren, you go get the ticket for us. So he did not want to disappoint his friends. So young Naren went and stood in the queue. Everyone there were adults. He was the only young boy standing in the queue.
Okay.
Now next, he waited patiently until his turn came, and then finally it was his chance to stand at the counter. But the officer there looked at Naren and felt this boy is not, he's too young. He can't go and get a ticket like that. So he told Naren to stand aside. He did not give him the ticket. But Naren, he refused to take no as an answer. He was resolute. He said, I will get the ticket. But he could not ask the officer anymore. So what did Naren do? He noticed that here the counter is there and the queue is also here. He stood aside and he noticed there was a small rear staircase on the behind the officer. So without telling the officer, very silently, Naren went up the staircase and came to a curtain.
Okay.
He opened the curtain and there he saw the main officer standing there. So young Naren, a little boy of 11 years old, went and gave that permission letter. With whatever little English he knew, he wrote a letter and took it to the officer and said, I want to see the warship, can you please give me tickets for me and my friends. That officer was so impressed that Naren was so bold and fearless that he accepted and he gave Naren a couple of tickets.
Oh.
Now tell me, all those people standing in the line were adults. Naren was the only boy. If he had, succumbed, if he had accepted that I cannot do it, he would not have gotten the tickets.
Exactly.
So he did not allow fear and doubt to stop him. He thought nothing is impossible. Let me try. Let me not be fear. Let me not be scared. I should be fearless. I should be bold. And he gave it a shot. And things turned out great for him.
Exactly. I think it is a very good point that you just said. It is about being fearless, being confident, and you have to have faith and believe in you that you will be able to do the task and you will be able to complete it. So that you will stop doubting yourself.
Yes. So what the moral of this particular anecdote is simply this. Nothing is impossible. Regardless of who you are, what your background is, what your gender is, whether you are a young person or an elderly person, nothing should stop you from doing what you want. And you should not let fear, doubt, anxiety or any kind of worry stop you from achieving your goal, because nothing in this world is impossible as long as we have the determination and motivation to keep walking down the road we are on.
That was very, very well said, Manasi. I think we all learned something great from that life incident of Swami Vivekananda. I hope you all did too, and thank you so much for watching.
It's a parable that now you're going to listen to, observe the words, the structures, etc.
Manasi, why are you plucking grass? What is wrong with you?
I'm very upset, Varsha.
Why are you upset?
My friend got an opportunity which I felt I should have gotten, and I'm not able to get over that thought, and I'm very jealous.
Oh, now I see that sense of jealousy we all would have experienced at some point of time. But I think I'll tell you a small story that may help you overcome this.
Okay.
Okay, see. The story starts like, once upon a time there were two friends. These friends were very close. They were always seen together. But they had two different natures completely. One friend was a greedy man. One friend was a jealous man. So one day the friends thought, we would go to the forest and do penance and please Lord Shiva. If they succeeded in pleasing Lord Shiva, then Lord Shiva would grant any boon. So they went to a forest. They searched for a Shiva temple over there. They found a Shiva temple near a tree. They sat and they started their meditation.
Okay.
They were completely into their penance, undisturbed, complete concentration, without any food, without any water, without uttering a word for 7 days and 7 nights.
Oh.
Then, observing all of this, Lord Shiva was very pleased. He came down, he said, I am very impressed. I am very pleased with your penance. Ask me for anything you want, I will grant you a boon. But then, Lord Shiva was careful. He said, I will grant a boon to only one of you. As in, I will grant a boon to one of you, the other friend will get double of what is granted to the first.
How interesting.
Isn't it? For example, if one friend asked for a pen, then Lord Shiva would grant him a pen. The other friend would automatically get 2. That is what the condition was. So, this is what the condition that the Lord Shiva had put. Now, the greedy man and the jealous man were in a fix. They didn't know what to do. Both of them thought. The greedy man thought, I don't want to ask for a good boon over here, because I know whatever I ask, my friend would get double of it. I deserve everything good, I deserve the best of it. So I don't want to ask for anything and I will sit quiet. So he didn't ask for any boon. So the jealous man looks at Lord Shiva and he says, Oh Lord Shiva, can you please take away one of my eyes? Lord Shiva would be stunned at this. He looks at the jealous man for a while and he asks, how can you be so foolish? How can you ask for such a boon? Your boon is showing me a hint of jealousy that you have towards your friend. Just because you wanted to teach your jealous friend a lesson, you yourself are getting hurt. You think that is fair? Don't you think that was very foolish of you? What would happen is, if I grant you the wish, you will be half blind, your friend will become full blind.
Because his friend will lose both eyes.
His friend would lose both eyes, and that is completely wrong. You can't hurt a person intentionally and you are also getting hurt. You do realize what your mistake is. Then the jealous man would realize that no, I made a mistake. That was very wrong of me. Oh Lord, please forgive me. Please grant me with good thoughts, morals and good values. And then Lord Shiva would say, your wish would be granted. So by this we realize that it is not good to be excessively greedy about something, excessively greedy for something, or to be excessively jealous of our own friends. Okay, if your friend has got one opportunity, you have so many more opportunities to come your way. All you have to do is be a little patient, have good faith and thoughts, and you will get the opportunity that you desire.
Yeah, that makes sense, Varsha.
Isn't it?
I think the story helped me a lot. Thanks for all that.
Definitely, and thank you so much.